Hi guys, and welcome to another Watch Geek video and another unboxing. Today we're unboxing the latest model from Venezianico, and it's yet another variant of their most famous diver, the Nereide. I featured Nereide in many variants, and they come in two sizes. The bigger 42, which is on the border of being too big for me, and the 39, which would be perfect in almost all situations for my 6.5-inch wrist. Now, usually the more interesting dials are always reserved for the 42, but now we got a 39mm version of a very cool dial that again was first launched as the 42. And as you can see by the color, it's a gold dial called Aureo, which means gold in Italian. And it's actually a dial done by plating the whole dial with 24 karat gold and doing it in a frosted finish. So naturally I was very excited when they announced they're gonna be making a 39mm version, and when they offered to send one in, I couldn't wait for the package to arrive. Now this is just the unboxing and first impressions. I will be doing a full review with macro shots, so do stay tuned for that. But as you can see, this watch is simply stunning. Now the 42mm version costs 1,250 euros, which is around $1,300, and it comes with a Sellita SW200 and comes in at 12.5mm in thickness. Now usually when Venezianico used to do a smaller version, a 39mm, just like the GMT that I owned, they would just reduce the diameter, but the thickness would stay the same, ruining the proportions of the watch. With this, they didn't go that way. Instead of the Sellita SW200 of the 42mm version, they went with a Miyota 9039, which is a much slimmer movement, making the whole watch under 11mm thick, which means that despite its 39mm diameter, it doesn't come with the chunkiness. It doesn't look chunky, it actually looks perfectly proportionate. And this case of theirs with a mix of polished and brushed surfaces is among my favorite cases when it comes to micro brands, including the Christopher Ward light catcher, because it's finished exactly the way I want it. So the sides are brushed, the tops are brushed, and you just have this polished bevel separating the two. It's incredibly well sized, very well proportioned, and again, like I said in many of my videos covering the Nereide, they nailed the ratio between the case, the bezel, and the dial. That's something that even though if a watch looks good on paper when it comes to the dimensions, if a brand messes up the ratio between the case, dial, and bezel, it can look weird and kind of off. With Nereide, they always nail these proportions. Now the 42 does come with a chapter ring that houses these hour markers, and they're kind of floating above the dial, giving it more depth. But I'm glad to exchange that for this more wearable size, this slimmer case, and a significant price difference. Because it uses a Miyota 9039, this is 900 euros. So that's 350 euros cheaper. That's like 1/3 or 1/4 of the price of that 42mm version. That comes around at like $1,000 or something like that, which is quite the saving to get this same amazing dial. The hands and markers are the usual Nereide ones, and I do like Venezianico for that because they kind of developed their DNA. So their Nereide is recognizable because all the models look the same with different dial variations or bezel variations. This one comes with a tungsten bezel, which is almost now becoming their signature move instead of ceramic, although in most situations, or in a lot of situations, despite this being simply a look of a polished steel bezel, it will appear black, almost like ceramic. And the cool thing is that despite being metal, it's not going to be a scratch magnet because it's almost as hard as ceramic, if not harder. So this is also pretty much scratch proof. One little detail that I noticed and I can't wait to see under macro is the way they did the lumed pip at the bezel, because as you can see, it is a lumed pip, but the triangle surrounding it is actually done in the same applied gold as the dial, which is an incredible attention to detail. Very cool. The watch does come with a screw and crown, as you would expect, and this being this Miyota 9039, it's a true no-date movement, so you don't have the ghost click. pulling the crown out will instantly stop the second scan. Very cool. So let's now put it on my wrist, and yes, I did size it because I couldn't wait to finish this recording. We're gonna do the bezel, a lume shot, and that's gonna be it for this unboxing and first impression. So let's do the bezel first. Very cool, very snappy, very precise clicks. The resistance is spot on. If you follow my channel, you know that I like watches that have a bit more resistance when it comes to the bezel action. And this is one such watch. It comes with slightly more resistance than some other watches like my Submariner, but it's still very smooth. It's very easy to grip because the teeth are very pronounced. Very cool bezel action. So let's now put it on my wrist and see how it looks. Here it is on my 6.5 inch wrist and at 39 millimeters in diameter, and I'll have all the specs in the corner of the screen. It wears simply perfectly. Now this one comes with this bracelet, and instead of their more common Canova bracelet, and I do like their, I believe this is called Sansovino or something like that. I'm glad they're implementing this on more models because although I do like the look of the Canova bracelet, which looks more like an H-link bracelet, it does have these end links slightly sticking out, and you don't have the full articulation of the end links. So on smaller wrists like mine, Canova bracelet can look slightly weird on some models, but this one, Sansovino or whatever it's called, really drapes down. It goes straight down and it has full articulation of the links. And one more very cool thing, something I also often mention on my channel, despite being modern, done with solid links, solid end links, and having all these tight tolerances, as you can see, it does have side-to-side or lateral play. This is something that vintage bracelets always came with. As watches got better, as tolerances got smaller, modern bracelets lost that, and with that we lost part of the comfort. This one does have it despite being really well made, so this is going to be a very comfortable bracelet to wear. The clasp does come with micro adjustment, but it's just these three holes, so you have to use your tool to move them. I wish they started including on the fly adjustment because that's like the only detail they're missing to be really like incredible value for money. The case back, as usual, is held with screws and it's engraved. We're gonna save that for the full review, but you know I do like the way they do their case backs, and that's very cool. So let's do the lume shot. That's gonna be it for today. So let me charge the watch. Okay, with the watch charged, let's zoom in, let the camera focus, and turn off the lights. And there we go. The lume is pretty good. It's BGW9, so it glows blue. Given the amount that it's been applied to, this is going to be very readable all night long. And I do love the fact they only lumed the pip at 12 on the bezel. Again, if you follow my channel, you know I prefer watches like this because reading the time is much easier. You don't have anything else to confuse you. And again, if you want to time something with the bezel, you will notice this triangle at 12. I know a lot of micro brands loom the whole bezel, and although it is cool and sometimes I do like it, I do prefer on my daily wear watches to have this simpler bezel. So anyways, that's it when it comes to this unboxing and first impressions. Like I said, do stay tuned for the full review. I can't wait to put this under macro to see this gold dial in full detail, but the watch itself really is spectacular. Like when they send the renders and the specs and everything, I was like, this is the first model of yours where I really don't have anything to hold against it. I haven't so far. We're gonna see by the time I do the full review if some details really jump at me that I would change, but so far this is pretty much as perfect as it can get. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.